Let's say China.
China.
There are no storm neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump's statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes, hello. It is me, James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news program where I guarantee if you know nothing right now, in 15 minutes, you will know something. And first off, today, the Democrats had a win when the Supreme Court ruled that the voter ID rule that North Carolina had put in place was still to remain struck down. So, big victory for the Democrats. The conservative talk show hosts were going absolutely ballistic, especially with their man Gorsuch, who they see as sort of the conservative second coming of Christ. Let them down. But it's actually not all rosy, because today, although it is definitely a victory for voting rights and the Democrats, there's still a very long way to go on voting rights. In today's decision, the court didn't actually judge on the case on its merits. It declined to hear the case. So they didn't take a vote and say, yep, this is discrimination. They just said, we're not going to hear the case, and whatever you've decided on a state level stays. And, well, while still a victory, here's where it can get a little interesting. There are a number of states in the Union that have this rule on their books that voting requires an ID. Now, the North Carolina case was different for a, specific reason. The Republicans in North Carolina looked at a lot of data on who was voting, how they were voting, where and when they were voting, and the appeals court that struck down the rule initially said that they had used information to target African Americans with almost surgical precision. And that is incredible. So the Supreme Court, Gorsuch and his friends, said, okay, we're not going to rule on that. Whatever you've decided in the appeals court, that stays. And to really understand why this isn't quite the celebration that some Democrats may make of it, we have to go back to 2013 in the case of Shelby County versus Holder. The Supreme Court essentially destroyed the Voting Rights Act in a 5-4 decision, which said essentially racial discrimination in voting isn't really a problem anymore. What that allowed jurisdictions to do was, before the Supreme Court ruled on this, they had to get pre-clearance from the Justice Department before changing their voting laws. After this, no pre-clearance was needed. So what it led to was a rush of GOP-controlled states running to their books and changing the laws to make it so that people who were more likely to vote Republican would be showing up on the day of the polls. Now, while the voter ID restrictions, they were sort of the best known ones, that's the one that everyone's talking about, there were other things that they put in place, other restrictions that had very similar effects, such as they limited early voting, they eliminated same-day registration, and they cut back on the number of polling places and where they were, and they sort of chose which area they would be in. All of these were designed to make it so that African Americans would not vote. Now, North Carolina today, the Supreme Court said, well, we're just not going to hear your case, and whatever happens, happens, because of that damning report that they had targeted African Americans with surgical precision. But by the time the 2016 presidential election came around, 14 states had newly installed voting restrictions in place, and some argue that that significantly decreased the number of African Americans that were able to vote in the 2016 election. Now, the case which is going to be most interesting is one that comes from Texas, and this is an absurd discrimination voting law. It happens all the way back in 2011, and it required ID at the polls, but it's then specified a certain kind of ID that would be valid. So, for instance, a hunting license, valid ID. A student ID, not valid. Now, this was struck down, and the Supreme Court heard it, and they struck it down again. Now, because now we have a very conservative Supreme Court, I'll bet you money that that Texas case is going to go right back to the Supreme Court very, very soon. And all you people with hunting licenses, go out there and vote. And all you students, fuck off. And with all my excitement about the Supreme Court, I completely forgot to tell you that it is Monday, the 15th of May, 2017. So basically, look at that Supreme Court part as sort of an intro. You know, like at James Bond, where they do that down, 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 and then they have like the scene, you know, that plays out, and then they do the title music. So that was sort of what that was. So now the show's about to begin. I hope you had a great weekend. We had a wonderful weekend here. The weather was glorious, and we spent all day, Saturday and Sunday, outside. Fantastic. And now let's move on to our friend Sean Spicer. Rumour has it that Sean Spicer may not have a job soon. We'll all miss him. He's been a source of, entertainment for the last few months. But I've done a little bit of research for Sean, and I've looked on monster.com and some other job websites, and I've found some jobs that he may want to apply for, and these are all in the Washington DC area, and they're available right now, Sean. So here are a few jobs that I think would be perfect for you. And the first job, Sean, that I think you may want to look at is a CDL truck driver for Swift. They have a job opening right now in the DC area, and this is what they say about it, and it says, "What drives you? A passion for trucking, independence, being part of a great company, a nice paycheck." That all sounds pretty good, right? I mean, yeah, they offer some good benefits, a 401k, a medical, dental, vision plan, so you don't have to worry about Obamacare anymore. You'll be getting all that. You get a prescription drugs plan, so that's pretty great, and paid vacation. Weekly paychecks, employee stock purchase program, and a nice work-life balance, which you probably don't have now. Now, if the truck driving world is not for you, Sean, there are also positions available with Uber. And I think that would be great, because you would just drive people around Washington. You know the area well. You'll be able to tell them some great stories. You will be the greatest taxi driver on the planet. The stories you'll be able to tell these people, spectacular. Uber, that could be it. Or how about this one, Sean? This is a company called Cavallero, and they are looking for a senior cyber security architect. And I know that you've got plenty of people there that you could ask about cyber security, and I think it would really give you a leg up. Well, that one's not for you? Don't worry, there's a few more. And this one you actually might be quite good at. This is a film intern at a company called One Common Unity. And this position will produce video and sound editing, and you'll help develop storylines. And we know you're very good at developing storylines, and you'll assist in, video logging process. It sounds really exciting. It does. It sounds great. But I found one, and this one, Sean, I think you are a shoo-in for. You are almost guaranteed to get this job, and that is a parking lot attendant at the Trump National Golf Club, Washington, DC, in Potomac Falls. And this is great. It's $10 an hour, and you get one free ticket to the tournament for completing 5 scheduled shifts. Sean, Donald will give you that job. I guarantee it. So good luck, my friend. Good luck. So there we go, Sean. A few ideas for you. And now I've just noticed at the window here in the studio, Trump Vader is outside and he wants to come in. So Trump Vader, yep, come on in. How are you? You had a good weekend. You did. He's shaking. Yes, you're nodding your head. He's nodding his head. He had a good weekend. What did you do? What did you get up to? Golf. He played golf. He's doing his little golf swing here. You did. All right. Well, that's good. You have a tweet for us today, do you? Yes. It's not from today. It's not from today. He's not really tweeted much today. It's from the weekend. Okay, it's from the weekend. He wants to read this tweet. So Trump Vader, go ahead, read the tweet.
I was thrilled to be back at Liberty U. Congratulations to the class of 2017. This is your day, and you've earned it.
Oh, that's right. You were at Liberty University this weekend, weren't you? Giving the commencement speech. You didn't want to get outdone by Betsy DeVoe, did you? No, of course not. No, he's got to run, folks. He has to run. So let's quickly give him his round of applause because he lives for it, as you know. So here, Trump Vader, here's your round of applause. Oh, it's not so good, that one, is it? No, he's off, and he's not thrilled with that one, to be honest, folks. But anyway, we'll see him tomorrow, I am sure. So, Trump Vader tweeted about Liberty University, so let's have a look at Liberty University. Founded in 1971 as the Lynchburg Baptist College by Jerry Falwell. It then became the Liberty Baptist College in 76, and then its current name, Liberty University, was adopted in 1984. Founded by Jerry Falwell. You've heard that name. Why have you heard that name? Well, let's have a look at Jerry Falwell. Jerry was a Southern Baptist preacher, a televangelist, and a conservative activist, and some of his views have drawn criticism, shall we say, from people on the left. He founded the Moral Majority in 1979, and it sort of just went on from there. So some of Jerry's political views. Family, he very much believes that the family is the family of the Bible, a man, a woman, and little tiny children. So no big surprise there. Now, on civil rights, Jerry Falwell was around in the 1960s, and he had a program on television called the Old Time Gospel Hour, and he regularly featured segregationist politicians, people like Lester Maddox, George Wallace. You'll have to excuse my little Sean Connery slip there. Sean Wallace, Miss Moneypenny. That was terrible. I'll never do that again. I promise. I will never do that again. In 1977, Jerry Falwell supported Anita Bryant's campaign, which was called by its proponent, Save Our Children, to overturn an ordinance in Dade County, Florida, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. And then he also supported a similar movement in California. He is staunchly pro-Israel, sometimes being referred to as a Christian Zionist. He repeatedly denounced certain teachings in public school and just in any secular education in general, calling them breeding grounds for atheism, secularism, and humanism. And he said it completely contradicted the Christian morality with which this nation should have. On apartheid, he had some fairly interesting ideas. He said the sanction imposed by pretty much everyone wouldn't work, and that Desmond Tutu was a phony. Now, he did later apologise for those remarks, but, as we know, people only apologise when they get caught. And his views on homosexuality are, well, I can only describe them as absolutely repugnant. He has condemned homosexuality at every single way, saying it's against the Bible. He's been called an agent of intolerance and the founder of the anti-gay industry by civil rights activists, which is probably very true. He even said to one crowd, "Gay folks would soon as kill you as look at you." So that's Jerry Falwell, the man who started Liberty University. And back to Liberty, which is itself not without its controversies. The university describes itself as a Christian academic community, and its stated mission and aims at emphasize both the intellectual and spiritual development of the students. And two of my favourite controversies coming out of Liberty are the fact that it teaches young earth creationism. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's really just too ridiculous to even talk about. You can Google it if you really want to know. And then the other one I love is that the new president, Jerry Falwell Jr., Jerry Falwell Sr.'s son, believe it or not, he has encouraged students to obtain concealed handgun permits. And we are running out of time, but I do just want to play a few of Donald Trump's remarks from the speech he gave at commencement at Liberty University on Saturday.
Never, ever give up. And I want to thank you because, boy, did you come out and vote, those of you that are old enough. In other words, your parents. Boy, oh boy, you voted. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, they prayed. When the founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they invoked our Creator 4 times. Because in America, we don't worship government, we worship God. America is better when people put their faith into action. As long as I am your president, no one is ever going to stop you from practicing your faith or from preaching what's in your heart.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Archbishop Donald Trump, apparently. Anyway, listen, we really are out of time, so you can follow me on Twitter at SoThisHappened. Don't forget to like, subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, whatever you're listening to. And also we have a new website, which is www.sothisHappenedshow.com, and it's really rad. Anyway, I'll chat with you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye.
Trump's tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel.